All right, Gemini. So I do feel like it's going to be hard for you to mesh with people this month, particularly maybe your family, or mesh with other people's goals or ideas or whatever. I just feel like your agenda and other people in your life's agenda are going to have a hard time coming together this month. Because when I was shuffling the cards, like, they did not, it's like normally where they would just slide in, I had to like force them in. So I just feel like, you know, if it's hard for you to get on the same page as your family, right, this holiday season, if it's hard for you to decide what you want to do for the holidays, you know, I feel like, one, this month, if something is going to strap you financially, or if something, you know, if seeing your family is going to put you in a poor mental space, or again, drain your bank account or whatever, I feel like you're going to end up having to do what's best for you, okay? Because the Two of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles is kind of being indifferent and undecided about whether or not you really want to, I feel like, be around a lot of people or be around your family. Maybe it's because you don't really want to talk about what's going on in your life, or just, you know, I feel like you may have to be more reserved around them or be more retracted. Also, I feel like, you know, being that it's the end of the year, a lot of us are in a reflective mode about, you know, where our goals are at and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like, too, I don't know why this is dark. Yeah, there we go. I feel like, too, you may just be ready to kind of like pull the covers up over your head and stay in the house. And that's fine. No one's going to make you come out. But with the Knight of Swords here and the Nine of Cups, I feel like whatever is going to make you feel good, make you feel fulfilled, make you feel happy is where you need to speak up and where you need to take action. So it's okay if you want to curve your family's text for a little while or something, or deny. This could even be like work parties and things like that. But you're eventually going to have to draw the line and announce yourself on where the things that you really love and that make you you reside. Because with the Seven of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups too, some of you may have been waiting a long time to get married, or to, you know, the holidays bring up a lot of those feelings like, oh, when am I going to share a Christmas tree with a partner? When is there going to be kids that I'm, you know, playing Santa for, or whatever the case may be. And I feel like you're really coming into a state of maturity where you understand that though it may feel better right now to turn a blind eye to the people on social media that are posting pictures of their kids or whatever else because you don't have that, you still have things that they don't have, which is the ability to be kind of selfish in what you spend your time doing and what you spend your money on and things like that. And that it's important not to focus on lack, because you know better than that, and that only will kind of drag you down or make you feel more like you want to stay in the house and just, like, you know, die under a blanket. So know that on the other side of worrying where your manifestations are, there is opportunity. So I feel like it's important too to look in, quote, unsuspecting places for an upliftment. Okay, Gemini. There's a lot. There's a lot here. There's a lot here. And, you know, in spirituality, right? We talk about self-love in so many different capacities, and in some capacities, they're a little toxic. Or not even toxic. We won't say toxic, but just dismissive, right? And in other ways, we kind of glaze over the surface about how powerful they really are. And not that this won't apply to men, it definitely will, but I feel like the love stuff that I'm about to talk about is a love that you received from an important woman in your life. I don't really necessarily feel it was romantic. I feel it was maternal in some way, whether it be a mother or a grandmother, an aunt, or somebody that raised you. And for women, not that that didn't happen as well, but it's about embodying that energy. The overall energy that you're being initiated into this month is woman holding a heart. And there's something about her that looks very Victorian to me. And I'm getting the phrase like old world love. And also this idea of like a love renaissance, right? A revitalization of what love is for you and in your life. And again, first and foremost with yourself. Because self-love, or rather, let me say it like this, lack of a partner, lack of someone being able to match what you offer is not a lack of self-love. But in the absence of a partner, we have no choice but to deepen the relationship that we have with our own loving inner being. And beyond that, there is a need to step into the power of allowance. I spoke about this with Aries a little bit. Because Gemini innately is a masculine energy. And there's a need to know where your inner divine masculine ends and the physical masculine on the external begins. Because there's nothing wrong with being your own powerhouse and being strong for yourself and doing everything that you want for yourself and, you know, needing a man to show up in a very particular manner in order for him to be worthy of your heart, worthy of being in your space. But we also have to be making sure that we're open to our femininity and we're open to being vulnerable and we're open to all of those kind of things and also feeling safe in that vibration and how to create a space of safety within your own being, because the overall energy this month is the Seven of Swords. So I do feel like there's going to be a theme this month where at some point you start to process and look over your childhood and any experiences you feel like you were robbed of. Okay? Because I feel like some of you feel like you were robbed of an experience. For some of you, there has definitely been a maternal figure that has passed on, you know, that is in the non-physical now, whether it be your mother, your grandmother, again, an aunt, somebody. And I really feel like you're missing her hardcore this month, whether it be because it's the holidays or she just had a love that was unmatched, or if she died when you were really young and you didn't get to really experience her. I feel like you're just wondering and daydreaming what it would be about, like what it would be like to experience her kind of love and what she would tell you, right? And if that's the case, I really feel like now would be a good time to create an ancestral altar or to meditate on that energy and things like that in order to reconnect with that, because I feel like there's a lot of very soft, mothering, loving energy that wants to be given to you and wants you to tap into so you can have it for yourself. Because the Seven of Swords overall, I'm feeling like I don't think anyone's actually deceiving you or stealing from you. I just feel like it's this feeling of like you were robbed of certain memories. And this could easily be like, sometimes we go on social media and obviously social media is a very specific form of what people show. But it looks like everyone is together with their family, being so happy, or they're with their in-laws, or they got their kids, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. People are getting engaged 24/7 during this time. You know what I mean? Baby's first Christmas, all that shit. All that shit. You see people with their grandmother, and you're like, well, I miss my grandmother. You know, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like there's an emphasis this month on what other people have that you don't have. And you're not jealous. You know what I mean? It just makes you sad. And you're just kind of asking spirit, like, why was I robbed of this situation? And when these things were taken from me, because I don't feel like they're things that you've lost. I feel like they're things that, you know, literally like they were completely out of your control. They were taken from you. And what that left you with, right? And in the Seven of Swords, he runs away with 5 and is left with 2. So you're left with this contemplation and this wondering of what that means for you. And I feel like you're going to tap into it in a whole new way. And being that this card is 44, which is 8 is the infinity. So I feel like you have to remember the interconnectedness of your bloodline and the interconnectedness of the grand scheme of things with this month as well. Because what you're being asked to release is the 3 of Wands with the Strength. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles with the Empress. So I feel like some of you may have been raised to be like, women were always the backbone of the family. Like, whether they had, maybe you were raised by a line of single mothers, women that just did more of the emotional labor in the household, carried the family on their back, things like that. I feel like there is a need to release this idea that you even have to carry on that tradition into the future. And I also feel like some of you may feel like people in your family have turned their back on the women that have passed on. Like they don't honor their memory. Only you do. And it's hard to keep things alive on your own and things like that. Because the Ten of Pentacles with the Empress here in something that you need to release. I also feel like it's important for you to remember that you can't create a family on your own. And I feel like that's really hard for you. And I feel like in a lot of ways you feel like you need to turn your back on that dream. And it's not that you do. I just don't think it needs to be in such stark focus right now, because it's going to make you feel some type of way. Because the Three of Wands is about expansion. Is about like, taking risks and watching the future unfold for us, right? And with Strength here, I feel like there's a need to kind of dial down the masculine energy, the doing, the assertion, the claiming, right? Because this is also kind of an energy of like frontiers. Like I literally just got this weird like Christopher Columbus vibe. So too, if you or your family are immigrants, and because of people that have passed on, you don't have the same roots from your home country, right? Or your ethnic origin. I feel like you have a fear that like you're not honoring your ancestors, or you're not tapped into like your truth, your ancestral truth and your lineage, and that in order to like strengthen yourself or to break the generational curse or something like that, you have to turn your back on your culture, and that's not the case at all. But there is something there about like motherland, you know what I mean? And opening yourself up to a new perspective. There's a lot of messages that want to come out in this. Like this is a lot. But I feel like it's important for you to remember too, with releasing the Three of Wands with the Strength card, is that you don't have to always be strong and present this really firm face and present this sense of like, I'm always okay. Especially if you're a woman. I feel like it's important, even for a man, shit. But like, I really feel like strongly with women, like you don't have to be the strong woman all the time. You don't have to do the most all the time. And that's not to say that, especially if you're single, that, it might feel like a never ending cycle of just like doing on your own and like laboring. But I feel like there's a lot of peace to be found when you realize that, like, at the end of the day, it's just you and your energy. I'm sorry that so many different messages are coming through there because it's just a lot. The door that's not open for you, that was once closed. We have the Six of Cups with the rune Constraint and the Eight of Cups. So, again, we're talking about childhood limitations. Right? How our past, how we were raised, what we were taught as a child, what has followed us through many lives, right? Past lives, has restricted our ability to move on. Because now we see two cards with their back turned. And I feel like it's important for you to know this month, I almost said Aries again, Gemini. I feel like it's important for you to know that you can honor your ancestors and honor your culture and honor where you came from. Even if you don't look anything like them, even if your life looks nothing like theirs, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a need to like that's a sign of healing. Like, 'cause I feel like you may have feelings that come up this month that looks like you've really strayed far from your roots, or you've really you really got estranged from, quote, where you came from. But there are so many other ways that you can honor your lineage. And with the Six of Cups and restraint as well, some of you may have had the belief that like children would restrict you and your ability to create a fulfilling life, or they would like bog you down too much, or you know that you didn't have the money to do it, or you know maybe because you grew up in a household where like you know your family was money was really tight, right? So you saw that like when you had, you know, when your sibling was born it got worse, that type of thing. I feel like you're having to heal that as well, so that you know when the opportunity presents itself for you to get into that situation, if it's something that you want for yourself, it's not as heavy to deal with. Because the Eight of Cups is saying that the past will always be there, where we dwelled for years, and if not, I feel like centuries, will always be there. It's written in a book. It's established. But you don't have to live it on the day to day, because I feel like there's some type of emotional resonance that you've identified with and that has been passed down from generation to generation that has been restricting your ability to receive and restricting your ability to live fully out loud what you want for yourself. And this is about finding where that leak is and patching the hole so that you can invite more fulfilling, free-flowing energy into your life, and behind that is the Nine of Cups, because it's all about your life and your decisions. Some of you may have decided to be a bachelor or bachelorette for like, you know, you may be in your 50s right now and like people are questioning you or, you know, asking you like, well, don't you ever feel like it was a bad decision not have kids? Don't you feel like it was a bad decision to ever not get married? And it's like, no, I don't. You know, and they're like, oh, well, you're not going to carry on this so-and-so's name. And it's like, you can create legacy in a lot of other ways. So I feel like that's it too. There's a lot of different ways that we can honor our ancestors and honor where we came from without necessarily procreating or bringing the past physically in an emotional resonance way into the future. We can honor every single aspect and thing that we've learned through different forms than physically carrying it in our being. Your current energy as it relates to all of this. In your head, we have the Nine of Pentacles. In your heart, we have the Three of Swords with the rune Prosperity. And in your foundation, we have the Chariot. So I really like the Chariot in your foundation because I feel like you're finally ready to accept the parts of yourself that on some level you feel like makes you hard to love. Especially family baggage. This is also the time of the year where, especially if you get around family, you're like, ugh, of course we're like this. No one else is like this. No, everyone's family is a shit show. I assure you. On some level, everyone's family has secrets. Everyone's family is dysfunctional, but we all hide it. So no one talks about it. So we think it's only us. I also feel like now is the time though, especially if you had like the matriarch of the family pass on, or like that she was the only reason that y'all ever got together. I feel like now is the time to patch up those wounds, especially if you were estranged from a fire sign, especially a fire sign man. Okay, Sagittarius for sure. This woman could have been a Sagittarius, because there's a lot of fire in this outcome, or again Aries or Leo. So with the Nine of Pentacles in your headspace, overall you know that you're in a great place. You know that you've made the right decisions for your life in order for you to flourish. Because sometimes we love our family, but we have to take a break from them. We have to physically distance ourselves from them as well, in order for us to be in our good feelings place, in order for us to feel really valuable about what we have to offer and about who we are. And you shouldn't feel guilty about that. With the Three of Swords in your heart space with prosperity, I feel like you may feel like you've been emotionally languishing. It's like I have all these things and I have this lovely life to show for it, but I don't really feel like I've learned how to flourish in the vibration of love, and especially in the terms of in relationship type of love and familial type of love. So I feel like you're also looking around, you're like, wow, I have all these, things to show for my success, but can I say that I know how to prosper and create bounty on an emotional scale? And if you have a lot of memories around, quote, like failure, especially in like where your feelings failed you, right? Or your heart failed you, or people you love, quote, failed you, I feel like you're getting a new perspective on that this month. Um, because there really is no failure, especially when you give your heart to somebody or when you're willing to be open with somebody, because I don't really feel like this is a new wound. Okay, and like I told Capricorn, it's raining in the Three of Swords, and the rain invites renewal. So we need to keep an open wound in order for it to get clean. So you may have a tendency to kind of like open and close this door a lot, to like, oh, it's still there. Okay, close it back up. But like wounds need air to heal. So if you're trying to really have a fulfilling, prosperous relationship, and even connections, and learn healthy love, I feel like it's important to continuously clean that wound and keep it open. Again, not like allowing it to be poked and prodded by people that are very toxic, but to keep it open and be open to this mentality that love in your life is always in bloom. Spirit's advice on how to handle this energy. We have the Magician with both the Six of Wands and the Tower. On the Tower, we have the Rune Success. So I feel like with this double message of winning, and notoriety, I feel like you'd be surprised of the different ways that you can make progress, and the different ways that you can mend fences, and the different ways that you can heal something out of nowhere. Because the Six of Wands for me is not only success, but it's recognition. And it's your peers, right? The people around you seeing you as a success and recognizing all the work that you've done. And with the Magician here, not only is this your card, but it's you standing in your power. It's you recognize that you made that happen. And I feel like it's also important to remember that we can make things happen at the drop of a dime with the Tower here. And that success in having a plan for success, or planning for success, or making sure that we take all the steps to create a successful life, don't always come from regiments. They come from being able to respond accordingly in the situation. So with the Tower, right, falling from this former version of belief, being open to the unexpected. Lightning never strikes in the same place twice. And with that said, I feel like you will benefit a lot this month by going off the beaten path. Okay, whether it be creatively, whether it be with your family, but I feel like it's time to walk the roads less traveled, and you will get you will be well received in those avenues, especially because, one, with what I say about the infinity symbol, not only are you infinitely connected to source, but you have the power to handle whatever comes up. So I think it's important that you challenge yourself by going off road, and going rogue. And if this is a work thing, or this is a business thing, you have the resume to back up what you're about to do. And again, I feel like you will be really, really well received. This could also be accolades coming out of nowhere, for something that you bared your heart for as well. Like just when you thought, your relationship was getting stagnant, or your work life is getting stagnant, all of a sudden you get this wave of accolades. But I feel like it's important to also find new ways to present your skills. The most likely outcome moving into January, we have the King of Wands with the rune Safety. And we have Temperance with the Knight of Wands. there was a lot of people in your spread. And I don't know if I said this, but I do those mid-month readings and love readings, and those can be purchased below. I don't do them right away like other readers, so take a peek on my website to know the deal. And also, now's a good time for a year ahead reading. That's also in the description box. But the King of Wands, you know, I feel like it's safe to blaze your own path, like I was saying here. I don't necessarily feel like this is another person. I already touched on the ways I feel like that could be another person. But I feel like it's safe to do your own thing. And it's safe to be an innovator. And it's safe to take risks, especially with the direction that you take your life in. Especially the way that you take, you know, your business as well. Especially if you're into healing, personal healing, spiritual healing, whatever work that you do, if it heals people on a physical health level, spiritual level, mental level, I feel like that absolutely appeals to you. With Temperance and the Knight of Wands here, when you get these ideas and are really feeling inspired, especially going into the new year, write them down so that you don't burn yourself out. Because this year, or rather in 2019, I feel like what's going to be important for you is to keep a lot of, you know, keep a spare tank of gas in the trunk type of thing, like where you're going to have a lot you want to accomplish and a lot that you're going to want to fire off, because I feel like you're going to be feeling more alive than ever. But it's going to be important that you continuously return back to your spiritual practice, return back to your self-nourishment on a regular basis, because you can't burn yourself out and then retreat, burn yourself out and then retreat. Like, you're going to have to consistently check in with yourself and consistently feed your spirit. You're not going to be able to like do the most and then, you know, pump the brakes. You're going to be learning how to create consistency this year. All right. Love you, Gemini. Peace.